When I got to the big leagues, I was 25 years old, and that was with the New York Yankees. But I played for 5 other teams. I played for the Yankees, the Giants, the Expos, the Cincinnati Reds, and the Kansas City Royals. And when you make it to the big leagues, everything is great. The ballparks are wonderful. You travel on charter planes. You make an extraordinary income. You live a life unlike most people. You put up make a lot of sacrifices, and you get a lot of rewards financially, etc. Jill and I were married before I even got to the big league. We've been now married 35 years, but we just started our journey as a married couple when I got to the big leagues. I became a Christian when I was 14, and it didn't mean that I was perfect, didn't mean that I had all the answers, but I had a really strong foundation. And I would like to say, honestly, that I didn't let the game affect my personal walk, but it did. The temptations were still there. You know, when you go on the road, you're gone half of the season. So if you have a young man who has a lot of money in his pocket and a lot of free time, you can see how that might lead to some difficult situations, if not kept under control. Fortunately, I had some great friends, some solid Christian teammates that we teamed up with and partnered and became really good lifelong friends, even to this day. Guys that would hold me accountable, and I would hold them accountable. My career came to an end when the phone stopped ringing and they didn't want me to play anymore. Most people, they don't really know what they're going to do when they grow up, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do either, but fortunately I had the ability to not have to step in or rush into something right away, and that was very helpful. When I transitioned, it was hard. There's no question about it. You don't do something that you've been doing ever since you're 12 years old and all of a sudden give it up and not have it affect your life. As a pitcher, you know, my job was to control the outcome of the game by throwing strikes and getting hitters out. After the game was over, you know, I had to think about what could I control. And the only things I could really control were my attitude and my actions. My value, my self-worth was wrapped up in many ways as being a baseball player, being a Major League Baseball player. That's a pretty big deal. So when I retired, I no longer was a baseball player. I was just a normal guy. You know, when you walk out of the locker room after the game's over and practice is over, you don't have your uniform on. So there's always people standing outside the locker room wanting autographs, and sometimes they're younger kids and they don't necessarily recognize players without their uniforms on. I remember hearing a kid say from behind the fence, he says, is that anybody? And I just laughed. I said, no, I'm not really anybody. It was humbling and good to hear. I had a lot of things to overcome to make it to the big leagues, let alone make it for 11 years. How am I going to fulfill God's call on my life, both in and out of the game? Am I going to be found faithful in the hard times, like when you lose a parent, or when a child is sick, or maybe when if you have financial hardship? I want to be found faithful in the good times as well as the bad times. You know, when I was in the highlight of my career, in the top of my game, I wanted to be found faithful. After the game, when the crowds are gone and the cheering is gone and the accolades are all gone, I want to be found faithful.